Oh my god, so many. I feel like I didn't understand what period was, and I remember only understanding what period was as someone said, "Can you come to the temple or are you on your period?"
I always used to wonder why my body wasn't growing the same way as the other girls in my grade.
I had so many questions. I mean, as a queer person, I had all these misconceptions about HIV/AIDS.
When I used to go to like Lal Bagh, and it'd be like two boys holding hands like this or like holding an umbrella together, people would make fun of it. I didn't understand it. I was like, why was it okay for two girls to do it but not two boys?
I think every child had the question like, where do babies come from?
Words like the F word, or what sex means, or why do people kiss, or what happens in these movies,
No, not really.
Not really.
No, not really.
Not by the people I would have liked to have answered with the correct information.
Because nobody around me ever spoke about it. No one in my family. It was very hush-hush in my family.
I think it was so taboo to talk about these things. It was like, no, how could you ask these questions?
I didn't really feel comfortable asking any of these questions because, well, I didn't think they was normal.
As gynecologists, Dr. Shoiba and I used to get a lot of young people with questions around sexuality, either because of misinformation and sometimes because of a complete lack of information. And we felt that sexuality is so closely linked with a person's physical and mental well-being that we need to do something about this at a wider level. So in 2001, we started Enfold to provide this information and to address the very troubling silence around sexuality, around gender-based violence, and most importantly, around child sexual abuse.
ನನಗೆ ಆವಾಗ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇದನ್ನು ಅದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ ಕೆಟ್ಟದ ಅಂತಲೂ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಅವ್ರು ಏನೋ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನನಗೆ ಹಿಂಸೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಮತ್ತು ನನಗೆ ಒಂಥರ ನಾಚಿಕೆ ಆಗೋ ಥರ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನು ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿರೋ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಭಯ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಅದೊಂಥರ ಹಿಂಸೆ ಅನಿಸಿದ್ರು ನಾನು ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತೀನಿ.
There is a need for stigma-free education on these subjects. So we began a curriculum on gender equity, sexuality and personal safety, and it was age appropriate from grade 1 to grade 12, then college students as well as professional adult stakeholders, and it was culturally relevant, non-alienating, using a vocabulary that people found easy to use. It was not, it was clear, not an ambiguous language. And this is what we started doing with the aim that people would create safer spaces wherever they are, for children and for adults alike.
Even when I'm sitting with my friends or my classmates in the classroom, there is certain amount of space around me which I don't allow anybody to come in. Isn't it? So when I'm sitting together, when some friend comes very close, what do you say? Move, yeah. Don't come so close. We'll push, no? So because we want that space around us.
The question also arises, how do we reach children with intellectual disabilities and other disabilities?
We began providing comprehensive sexuality and personal safety education to children with intellectual disability and autism back in 2017 through Suvidha project. Now, based on our past 15 years of experience in mainstream schooling, we got the idea of building an in-house teaching learning toolkit which is specifically catering to children with intellectual disabilities. Through the Suvidha project, we aim at training caregivers, teachers and parents to provide this education to their children effectively.
And it's designed to cater to students who are multisensory learners. The flashcards act as visual cues, a lot of activities are hands-on based, and the social stories, beautifully written, helps with retention and generalization of the skills. So big thanks to Enfold team and the entire team behind the Suvidha kit, because our students truly benefited from using the Suvidha kit and they continue to benefit from it. Thank you.
Sometimes after our sessions, children would come up and talk about sexual abuse that they had been targeted for in the past or that was ongoing. So it was clear that prevention alone was not enough. How do we support these children? What can we do with their families?
DCP told me it's not good for me to lodge the complaint because of my daughter. Now she is small, and when she grows up, people will start talking about her, and no one will be ready to get married to her. And he told me, see, this is your family thing, and it's not good for you to lodge the complaint.
Reporting a case is just the beginning of a very long and arduous journey where the child and the family are pretty much alone, and they move from one stakeholder to the other. So they're first with the police, and then they move on to the medical system, and then they move on to the child protection system, after which they move on to the courts. And our team understands the importance and relevance of holding that space for the child and being that linkage and the bridge between each of these stakeholders. And ये केस को रिपोर्ट करने में आपको किस चीज का
पहला दिन जो पूछताछ होने लगा तो हमको डर भी बहुत हो रहा था।
हाँ
रोना बहुत रो रहे थे, लेकिन डर भी बहुत हो रहा था।
1 page।
इतना डर हो रहा था, क्या होगा मेरे साथ पता नहीं। गांव का आदमी सब सुन के क्या बोलेगा, लेकिन गांव में पता नहीं चलने दिए, तभी भी सबको पता चल गया वहाँ।
Enfold started providing support and rehabilitation services in 2011, and since the enactment of POCSO in 2012, there was a legal obligation placed on anyone who knew about a child facing sexual abuse or suspected it to report it to the police. Over the past 14 years, our team has assisted about 500 children as support persons and helped them through the processes of reporting, investigation, rehabilitation, trial, accessing compensation, and also equally importantly normalizing the child's life.
ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಪಾಪ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಅಟೆಂಡೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವಿ, ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದನೇ. ನೀವು ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೊಂದು ಬೆನ್ನೆಲುಬಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಂತು ನಾವು ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇತ್ತು, ನಾವು ಮುಂದುವರೆದ್ವಿ. ಇದು ಬಿಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ. ನೀವಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಆಗ.
There are a lot of limitations within the system, so the stakeholders themselves are overwhelmed in trying to respond to children and families. So our presence in bridging that gap between the child and the family and the stakeholder is a very critical role. इतना दूर से आप आए हो, एटलीस्ट बैंगलोर में हमारा जैसे बच्चों के साथ कुछ होता है तो किसी को तो फोन करके तुम बात कर सकते हो कि हमारे साथ ये हो रहा है. एंड
वो तो पहले तो कोई बात होता है तो पहले मैडम को फोन करते हैं.
I know.
पहले मैडम को फोन करते हैं.
ಅದೇನೋ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗೋ ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಅವತ್ತು ನೈಟು ಫುಲ್ ಒದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮಯಿಂದ ನನಗೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳು, ನಾನು ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳು, ನಾಳೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
Why is it that we don't listen to them? Why is it that we don't answer questions? This is meant to be a system that protects children and cares for them. And yet we are too busy with, I don't know, legal issues, I don't know what it is, that they felt unable to just meet these basic needs of information and to be in connect with one another.
The best thing I like about the circles is you won't be judged for what you're saying or for what you've done, and you're free to open up to them. And today I've changed a lot, not the first, and that is because of them only. I wholeheartedly thank Enfold.
Yeah, so I think the Restorative Practices team formally came into existence in 2018, and it really came from the space of trying to deeply understand what justice means and how can we connect with one another, especially with children who may enter the child protection system or a school or in community spaces. How do we connect with them, create space for them where they can truly express themselves without feeling judged? And how can we offer them a frame within which to understand their emotions, to also deal with conflict and to address it in a meaningful way so that everyone can move forward?
While facilitating restorative circles with children and their parents or among children residing in childcare institutions, we have come to realize that the child protection system is really, there's a lot to be desired.
So it's important to understand where research comes in when you're looking at the scheme of strengthening the child protection system so that services are better reached to children and they're also able to enjoy the rights that they're entitled to in law. When we know that resources are finite, it's important to discern where exactly should our attention be, and that's where research comes in. It helps us understand whether the laws, policies, schemes are really working for children with them, and do they sometimes work against children? Could they be counterproductive in some ways? I think the research also helps us question how we understand and relate to the law by asking fundamental questions as to what does justice mean for children.
I think on the personal front, safety would mean the ability to live without a sense of fear.
A situation where one can be vulnerable with another person with the expectation that that person will again respond appropriately and value that trust that has been placed in that person.
A place where I feel accepted, belonged, respected, and safe in the sense that nobody is going to attack me.
And on the professional front, safety would mean children having the confidence to be able to approach authorities like the police to, let's say, report a crime.
To be there for children and adolescents so that they can have a very dignified experience of childhood and not be shamed and labelled based on their actions.
20 years ago, we came up with the word Enfold, FOLD standing for Facts of Life Demystified. And today, the word has grown to enfold and encompass every child in safety, love, and dignity that they deserve. Help create safer spaces. Join us in our work. Support it either by donating, volunteering, or advocating for child safety.